Hey everyone, it's Joe here with the Zaya Human Performance. I'm going to show you a couple hip stretches that you can do to attack those asymmetries that I talked about in the blog. First stretch is a hip flexor stretch. This can be done with the ground or with a physio ball. What you're going to do is get into a half kneel position. So one leg is going to be behind the other. You're going to go ahead and tuck your pelvis underneath you. So you want to squeeze your glutes. You want to feel a good contraction of your glute muscles. Pushing your hips forward and your knee down into the carpet. You're going to go ahead and raise the arm on the same side as the knee that's down. And you're going to lean slightly towards the opposite side. You don't want to arch the spine too much, so you really want to get a good tuck of that pelvis. Reach across towards the opposite side. Hold each stretch for about 30 seconds. I'll show you on the opposite side. Same thing. You're going to go ahead and squeeze the glutes to start off. Nice good glute contraction. Push that knee into the ground, raise that same hand on the same side as the knee that's down, and you're going to go ahead and lean towards the opposite side. Really feel a good stretch all throughout that hip flexor area. This will help to open up your hips and get rid of some of those asymmetries. Alright, so here's the variation with the stability ball. All you're going to do differently is place your foot up on the ball. So this is going to give more of a stretch on the front side of the quad. You'll feel more in the hip flexor as well. It's just a little more aggressive. You're going to get into a half kneel position. Perfect. Same concept. You're going to tuck that pelvis underneath you. You really want to get up nice and tall. Really feel that in my quad. Same concept. You're going to push that knee into the carpet. You're going to raise your hand on that side. Really lean towards the opposite side. 30-second hold, 3 to 5 reps. Second stretch is for the adductors. So you're just going to get into that half kneel position again. And what you're going to do is bring your foot out to the side. So I'm still in a kneeling, half kneel, but I bring my right leg out. What I'm going to do is go ahead and mobilize into a side stretch here for my adductors. So I should feel it on the inner thigh here, a little bit here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and try to work different angles as well. So I want to lunge and then come back. And I can bring my knee out to the side and then come back again. This is a great stretch to do before you surf. It's a great dynamic stretch. You can even apply some pressure with the web space of your hand on the side of your hip, pushing down towards your opposite foot. With this one, I would hold for about 5 seconds each time and just mobilize back and forth. I call it flossing. Great stretch for the adductors, especially on the right side. As I noted, a lot of surfers tend to have really tight hip adductors on that right side just from the common stance that's used on a regular footer. Same thing on this side, just mobilizing. It's a great stretch. Get those adductors free and clear. Alright, so the last stretch we're going to talk about is the 90-90 stretch. This is really important. On my blog, I noted that back leg on most regular footers tends to be positioned in an internally rotated and adducted position. It tends to kind of cave inward, knee pointing inward, lower leg outward. So these guys tend to develop really tight internal rotators and adductors. So this is a great stretch for that. What you're going to do is take your front leg, you're going to position it in an externally rotated position here, resting on the ground. Side leg is going to be out to the side. Now what you want to do is try to sit up nice and tall so your spine is in a neutral position. You should feel a really good stretch on that front of that hip as well as the side of the hip here. You want to feel a good mobilization. So my front knee, I'm mobilizing into external rotation, the opposite of what most surfers have on this right leg. And then on the back leg, I'm mobilizing this leg into internal rotation. This is a great stretch to fix those imbalances. Like I said, you want to stay up nice and tall, so I'll show you from the side. With my right leg forward, I'm going to position it on the ground there. I want to get my spine into a neutral position. This leg out to the side, and you can work different angles. You might want to prop yourself up on this side if you're having trouble. You want to hold each stretch for about 30 seconds, and you want to repeat about 3 to 5 times. Once again, this is a great stretch for some of those imbalances that we see with surfers. Alright, so next we're going to attack some of the imbalances that I noted on my blog. We're going to try to strengthen the internal rotators and adductors on the inner left thigh. And we're going to strengthen the external rotators and abductors on the right thigh. This will help to correct some of those pelvic imbalances that lead to ugly knee pain and really bad low back trouble. So first thing we're going to talk about is a simple isometric hold. All you're going to do is lay on your left side. Real simple. You're going to start with your top leg nice and straight. Foot turned down slightly towards the floor. Leg raised up at a 45-degree angle. So if I had a stick going from the ground, it should be 45 degrees. I'm going to hold that position upright. Next, I'm going to think about creating some space between my side and the floor. So I'm engaging my left obliques. At the same time, I'm pushing my heel down into the carpet and I'm engaging my left inner thigh, my adductors. I'm holding that position. You can see I'm shaking. This is a tough exercise. Even though it's an isometric, it is really challenging. You want to make sure that you don't roll back onto your hip. You want to stay forward, and you're going to go ahead and focus on diaphragmatic breathing. You're going to take in a deep breath through your nose, and breathe out through your mouth each time. You're going to go through about 5 breathing cycles, holding this isometric position, and then let yourself relax. Number 1 exercise. Remember, focuses on the internal rotators of the left hip, adductors, external rotators and abductors on the opposite side. Second exercise we're going to talk about works the hamstrings. Also an adductor portion as well. You can take just a standard stability ball here. You're going to place it underneath your heels. So you're going to be in a 90-90 position. Knees are flexed 90 degrees, hips are flexed 90 degrees. You're going to dig both your heels down into the ball, so I'm contracting my hamstrings. Next, I'm going to think about flattening my spine down against the floor and tilting my tailbone up towards the ceiling, so it's just a little pelvic tilt. I'm going to think about keeping my hamstrings engaged the entire time, so a good contraction, heels are placed down into the ball. Next, I'm going to go ahead and inhale through my nose. And as I exhale, I'm going to slowly bring this right leg up in the air and extend that knee. Keeping that left leg pressed down, my hamstrings are on fire right now. I'm going to do that continually, inhaling through my nose, and exhaling and straightening my knee. I'm going to repeat it about 5 breathing cycles. Take a rest, about 3 sets.